Hi, what is up boys? This is Forever Alone Tide. Today I want to show you guys the deck that I've been using for a while. It is a Weevil Parasite deck. So you're gonna use Weevil with his skill Parasite Infestation skill. The Parasite Infestation skill, if you don't know, the skill goes like this. After starting hands are dealt, the random number of Parasite cards are added to your opponent's deck face up. So after this card is activated, a random number of the Parasite cards from 1 to 3 will be added randomly. So the number will be random. Let's say you have 20 card stack, so 16. And then after the skill is activated, you're gonna have to keep a watch on the deck numbers. Like if it's increased from 16 to 19, that means you have 3 extra Parasite cards inside of his deck, which is very good if it happened to you. So the concept of the deck is basically a burn deck, because the Parasite card itself is that if your opponents draw it during their draw phase, they will have to special summon it on face-up defense position, and they will take 1000 burn damage. Also, all of their monsters become insect type. Just like most burn deck, we'll also focus a little bit on the style side, because burn deck generally can get outspeed by your opponent if they keep throwing out monsters on you. This deck can get outspeed. So let's get on to the deck profile. This is the deck list that I've been using. I already tweaked it a lot of the times since last season before the current PvP rank reset. I use this deck during the King of Games levels. When I get to King of Games, I directly main Weevil with this Parasite skill, because I found that a lot of players in King of Games actually use different kind of decks instead of the usual meta, you know, dinosaur and Daedalus deck, which is, I find it a bit boring, to be fair. It's not that fun. I like to play deck that is also kind of fun to play, but also can win at the same time. So this deck fit both criteria for me, given that the win rate is not the best. It really depends on your matchup, to be honest. Like if your opponents play 30 cards deck, then it's not as good as when your opponents play 20 cards deck, because you really want your opponents to draw that Parasite card. So let's get on to the deck profile. We're gonna go through the card one by one. I'm gonna explain a little bit what the card does. The first card we have is Cobra Jar. This card, you get it from leveling up Rex. When Rex reach level 21, this is the reward. It's a free card, basically. What this card does is that when this card is flip summoned, you get to special summon 1 token, and when that token dies as a result of battle, you get to inflict 500 burn damage to your opponent. So this card is really good in this deck because it fits both criteria that we want in a burn deck, which is stall and burn. I also run a really low monster count, so being able to special summon some token can be useful. Next, we have triple Panda, but I'm gonna skip this card a little bit. I'm gonna explain it towards the end. Next card we have is triple Bonek from Min. This is basically just a stall cards and also for deck thin. You really want to open with at least 1 vermin. If you open 2, then yeah, bad luck. Sometimes the RNG is like that. You can't really do anything about it. Next card, I play triple Mask of the Accursed. You don't have to play 3. I have 3, that's why I play 3. This card is quite essential to this deck because aside from dealing 500 burn damage every turn, this card also render your opponent's monster useless, as in they can't attack. So that fits both of the criteria that we want, stall and burn. You generally just want to stall and keep on dealing burn damage to your opponent. So if your opponent doesn't have like spell or trap removals like twisters on dispel, they gonna have a lot of tough times dealing with this mess of the Accursed. But most of the decks, I would say in the upper tier, on the upper rank, they do play at least 1 twisters. But sometimes, you know, sometimes people don't open with it. So yeah, this card is pretty useful. I would suggest playing 3 if you have 3. Playing 2 also fine. You can, you know, replace the other cards with some other defensive cards, like maybe Windstorm or Spare Kuribo if you have, or maybe Curse of Anubis also good. Just for that extra, you know, like having that extra turn to survive is pretty important as well. Next card that I play is the core card of the deck, which is Jade Insect Whistle. You absolutely need to play 3 of this card because this is the card that you want to open with. You want to open this card and activate it right away just so that your opponent can, you know, be forced to draw the Parasite cards. This card might be a little bit tricky to get because it's not from the pack or anything, so this is a pure RNG. You get this card from some standard duelists, I think, but I'm not sure like which duelist or which decks of the standard duelist you get this from. I have 2 of this card for a very long time, and I got the 3rd one like shortly after I got to King of Games last season, so I directly made this deck after I got the 3rd one. You really need to play 3 of this. This is the card that you want to open with. Next card, we play 2 Bless held by a tribute. This card you get by getting Ishizu. Also, you get this as a Ishizu legendary duelist reward. I play 2 of this because after some tests, people will generally try to tribute away the monster that was being equipped by Mask of the Accursed. So having this card ready, you know, in your back row is quite essential because if your opponent play around Mask with tributing, that means they're gonna, you know, wreck themselves basically if you have this card set. So I like to play 2 of this card. If you have 3, I wouldn't suggest playing 3 because it can clock, you know, it can be a dead draw like real fast. So 2 I think would be the ideal numbers, I would say. But if you play 2 Mask, I would suggest just play 1 of this Bless. If you play triple Mask, then play 2 of this. Next card we have in our deck list is 2 Magical Arm Shield. I'm still kind of iffy with this card. I'm testing it at the moment. I play 2. Sometimes it can be a dead draw because I only play like 7 monsters, 8 if you count the tokens. So this card requires you having a monster on the field, so sometimes you just have that brick draw, you know what I mean? I still kind of unsure about this card. I mean, it saves me a lot of the times, but sometimes it's a dead draw, so it's not the best card, I would say. Just because of our low monster count. If you run maybe like at least 10 monsters, this card can be really good. The last card on our list is Attack and Receive. This card is basically just a burn card. Very simple, you take a damage, then you burn 700 damage. Second, Attack and Receive you activates, you're gonna deal 1000 damage, which is pretty good in a 4000 LP format like we are right now. So many times I end games with this card, Attack and Receive. So play 3, I would absolutely suggest it. If there's any card I would change from this list, I would say it's the 2 Magical Arm Shield. I'm still not sure what to put in though. I tried Windstorm, also Curse of Anubis. Curse is alright against certain decks, but it's really a dead draw if you got matched up against the dinosaur deck. So Windstorm is obviously by far better than Curse, I would say right now, as of right now, our meta at least. Cards that we skip, which is Gyakugay or Panda. I played 3 of this because if you don't know what this card does, you get it from a Neo Impact or something, I think. It's a rare card. Basically, the card have 800 attack, pretty low stats, but this card gain additional 500 attacks for every monsters in your opponent's monster zone. So if your opponent have 1 monster on their field, this card becomes 1300. If your opponent have 2 monsters, this card becomes 1800. And this card also deal piercing damage. That is the most important part, because most of the time your opponents will have Parasite on their field, and if they only have 1 Parasite and you summon Panda, Parasite only have 300 defense, Panda is 1300. That means Panda, if you use Panda to attack Parasite at that moment, Panda will deal 1000 piercing damage, which is generally pretty good, but usually you don't want to do that. You want your opponent to have as many monsters as possible. By that point, Panda will have 2300 attack, and if your opponent has 3 monsters with Parasite included, and you summon Panda at that turn and attack over a Parasite, it will deal a huge damage, like 2000 damage. So it's already half of the LP, it's already gone. If you count the 1000 burn damage that Parasite inflict when it was summoned, it's already 3k. So yeah, that's generally what this card is used for. Panda is used for finisher. I usually finish either with Panda or using attack and receive. And yeah, that is the deck profile for our Weevil Parasite Infestation deck. I've been using this deck for a while now, since last season. It was doing pretty good in the King of Games rank, at least. You need to really watch out on Decklist deck if you got matched with Decklist deck, because Decklist can really wreck your deck, so to say, because it just blow up the whole field and you're left with nothing. So if you're got matched up with a Decklist deck, don't really set everything. Especially Blast is really important if they don't open a big wave, small waves. Generally they won't gonna use big wave, small waves anyway, because you ain't gonna attack their monsters, and they usually gonna tribute away their unshaven anglers or something like that. So at that point, having Blessed by a tribute is really good. So if you got match up against Decklist and you open up Blast, don't set it, like wait until Decklist is summoned and they blow up the whole field, then you can set up Blast. Against other meta deck like the Rituals or the Dinosaur, it's really good because the Rituals, as in the Garlandov, it's quite rare. I noticed most of the Rituals are relinquished. It's pretty easy, I would say, against relinquished. Against Dino deck, it's a really easy matchup. Against Mirror Match though, I would say it really depends, like who opens on this card, Panda, because Panda is really important in Mirror Match because all of the monsters have really low defense, and most of the Parasite decks does play Bubonic Vermin. So if you play against a Parasite, a Weevil with a Parasite deck, and they set something, probably like 70% of the time it's a Vermin, or it's a Cobra Jar, but Cobra Jar you can only have one, so the probability is quite low to have that as a set. If you're in a mirror match, opponent's Weevil set something, and you have a Panda open, just summon your Panda and attack over it, because it probably will be a Vermin. Other Rogue deck, it depends, like Rogue deck, as in like if you play this deck in a lower tiers like silver or gold, gold 3 or lower, it's not the best deck to play there, because generally your opponents played like 30 cards deck, so it's not the best scenarios to play this deck. You want your opponent to have the most minimum cards as possible, so 20 decks, that's what you want. But yeah, in the upper tiers, this deck definitely shine, but not in the lower tier. So I would say if you're in the King of Games or you're already in Platinum rank, and you got bored with like the common meta deck like Mako deck or a Dinosaur deck, because it's too straightforward for you or something like that, you want to try something different, I would suggest try this deck out. It's really fun to play as well. So yeah, thank you for watching.